It is our favourite time of the week to talk to our favourite person in the world, the one, the only, the wonderful, and the full of warmth and light and love that is Megyn Kelly. What an intro. You know, I just love turning up to 11 because that's the way we view you here.
Just hit replay every week. I love it.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Now, let's talk about, before we get to something else, fake news, all right? We all know we've talked about it a lot. Fake news, fake news, fake news, Trump, fake news, fake news, fake news. What about this guy who used to work at CNN who clearly his producers at CNN were saving him from himself? Jim Acosta, big Trump hater, which means award-winning journalist, off on his own. And he interviews an AI version of a kid who was killed in a school shooting. Terrible, right? But it's literally the ultimate version of fake news to do an interview with a person who is dead.
Joaquin, I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
It's sick. It's sick. It's stomach turning. My guess is he thinks it's okay because the parents of this kid said it was okay and they wanted it to happen. Obviously, they're very they're hurting very much because of their son being killed in the Parkland shooting down in Florida. But your job as a journalist is not to take advantage of people's deep pain and, when they're down, to exploit them. And this is so exploitative. I can't believe he's sunk this low. Even someone like Jim Acosta, his sin has been Trump derangement syndrome. It hasn't been exploitation of suffering families in this way. I can't believe he said yes to it. Immediately, any journalist working for a corporation would be fired upon doing this for these reasons. It's completely unethical because you really are taking advantage of grieving family members. This is one of the reasons why, Paul, there's a guy named Fred Gutenberg, and his daughter was killed at the Parkland shooting back in 2018. And he is vocal on Twitter. He is very angry on Twitter. He is constantly attacking any Trump supporters. And my own approach has been to just never engage with him. Just never. I understand where that poor man's anger
100%.
was born. And I just can't go there. It's also a reason why I almost never say anything about David Hogg. I do occasionally because he's gotten so loud and he's become such an independent public figure in his own right. But he was at that school that day. He was a student there. And just anybody who's been involved in one of these mass shootings gets an extra 10 layers of grace from me. And the thought of actually taking a grieving mother and father who come to you and say, we want you to do this interview with an AI version of our dead son, and saying anything other than, I am so sorry for your loss, but I'm just not comfortable with that, is anathema to me. And let's not forget, just because the parents were the parents of this young man does not mean it is their right to do this to him. The truth is, they have no idea how their son would actually answer questions posed to him by Jim Acosta. Obviously, there's an assumption that this kid would be aligned with his parents, especially on things like gun control. I get it. I totally understand. But you don't actually know how your son would answer, would speak, would posit his responses and his thoughts on such a dicey and controversial issue. And the nerve to go there as a journalist who's supposed to not be emotionally involved, who's supposed to have arm's length from the subject, is just, it's a bridge too far. Jim Acosta should be shunned. No one should be watching this show. No one should be applauding this. There should be many, many articles written about how deeply wrong it is. We're crossing over into a Rubicon now that is new and really dangerous and could open a Pandora's box that we do not want to open. So this is like deeply wrong, and it's beyond the pale, even for Jim Acosta.
I have loved. And I know it's a little bit sort of yesterday's news, but I don't care. Let's play in it, right? We know that this lady ain't that smart, right? And she certainly has not updated the act, and now she's flogging the book, and your coverage on the show has been amazing, especially her performance on the Colbert Show. But she's got dumber since she ran and lost a year ago, hasn't she?
I mean, it's an accomplishment in and of itself. Usually it doesn't happen at age 60, especially on the heels of a presidential campaign. Usually you learn things, and you learn some things about yourself, that make you a little wiser, maybe more self-deprecating. No, it's gone a different way for Kamala Harris. And she's vintage. You know, on that Colbert show, she was vintage. She's so insufferable. Her weird cackle. It's funny, Paul, because I always have my news read to me. Like my team does a research packet for me. I hit like read aloud because I try to save my eyes just because we do so much reading of the news. So my husband and I were laughing because he could hear the packet being read to me, and it was like cackle, 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 cackle. That characterizes all of her interviews. So she gets out there, and she's just written this book. And when you've written a book, and I've written one, you live it. It's night and day in your head. You know it forward and backward. You've copy edited it 10,000 times. This woman was not able to say anything about this book other than to tease that, you know, my birthday's in October, the election's in November. I figured out, poor Dougie, poor Dougie.
It was. It was.
Meanwhile, we're all like, what are you saying, you idiot? We have no idea what you're even trying to tease. Apparently it was that he forgot her birthday. Oh, this is the big reveal in the book that poor Dougie forgot your birthday. Are we going to get to the part where poor Dougie beat the hell out of his ex-girlfriend? He denies it. I'd love to read that chapter. Is that in there about we're going to spend time on poor Dougie? And then she's like, her weird little verbal tics where she takes some banal phrase and tries to make it special. Like, oh, I was talking to my baby nieces. I call them my baby nieces.
He didn't get you anything?
Well, okay, first of all, that's not a special thing. You have nieces and they're young, so this is not clever and it's not a youism.
My family was staying with us, and including my baby nieces, my nieces' children. I call them my baby nieces. And we had a really wonderful brunch. Again, I talk about what that day is. But and then I get the call from Joe. And immediately, that's the dining room at the vice president's residence. And immediately, my incredible team, people just started coming. And we turned it into a war room. And I made over 100 calls that day. I rolled calls. And that's me on a call. So you'll see my phone is actually on my lap. And you know, so I know I've been teased about this, but I like these kinds of ear pods that have the thing.
But it's like what she thinks, like, I love the Venn diagram. I love the Venn diagram. I love the school buses. And if you're gonna put the ear pods in, you make sure you don't trust those ear pods. You get to kind of have the thing. I'm just telling you.
So
She was almost our president. Oh my God, we dodged such a massive bullet. And you see her come back after a few months, and it really brings home to you how like a spell was cast over half of our country. And the media participated in the lie that she could do this job. It was really dangerous. We almost elevated an absolute moron. I know we've had dumb presidents before, there's no question, but a true absolute moron, like on the psychiatric scale, you know, where you have terms of art, like there is one that's called moron, there is one that's called idiot. She's an actual moron. I think she's clinically diagnosable. And now there's a buzz that she's thinking about having another go at it in 2028, in response to which I say, I can't be that lucky. There's no way I've been that good a person. I don't think so. We're going to find out.
Also, oh, God love you. God love you. Thank you for that. That's the best laugh I've had in a while. And again, you know, as you've talked about on your own show, you've studied the way this woman talks and the tics and the hiding and the glitches and all the rest of it, right? But also, I mean, she had $2 billion and no accountability for how she ended up owing money at the end. And I know that sort of she sits at the top of sort of the who's going to be next lists. But surely of what you read, see and hear, smart people will get out of the way, and if they have to stop her, they will. And I reckon one of them might be Jill Biden, who I have no doubt has been keeping notes on every little thing that she did, not just in those 100 and whatever days, but in the 300 before and in the 365 since.
Oh, 100%. And Mark Halperin, journalist here, he's reporting that Team Biden has got all the receipts, and that if she says anything about Team Biden, they're going to Sarah Palin her. They're going to reveal all the stories from behind the scenes that make her sound like the idiot she is. So she'll steer clear of that. But separate and apart from whether she goes after Biden, she never had to go through a primary on her 107 days. That's what her book is called, which, the excuse for her loss is built into the title. I would have done it had it not been for the short time frame. But she never had a primary, which meant she never had the knives out for her in running this last time the way she did in 2019, which caused her to end her campaign before we even got to the first primary state. But she will this time. And we only have more fodder now to see used against her. And I think that's actually going to be the fun part, because one of the frustrating things about the 2024 election was when it was over, the Democrats kept their powder dry on her. There was never the big tell-all on what a disaster she was behind the scenes, because they were just so jarred, and they kind of felt grateful to her for picking up the mantle when Joe Biden fell apart, and sort of at least getting their team over the finish line with somebody that they considered credible. But if she actually tries to do this again and tries to get that mantle again, they're going to kill her. I mean, it's going to be a total bloodbath. And you're right, people like Jill Biden will be supplying the ammo behind the scenes, and it'll be article after article and debate after debate in which these stories come up, which will be really fun for the rest of us.
Last question, and if any technical difficulties mean for some reason you can't hear me, I completely understand. Desert Island, you, Meghan Markle, or Kamala Harris?
Oh, God.
You're stuck.
I have to go with Meghan Markle. I can't listen to that cackle for the rest of my life. I just can't do it. At least Meghan Markle, I'm interested in her stories about the royal family, and her narcissism is interesting to me. I think it's like an anthropological thing. Like, I'd like to study her. Like, how can you have all these gifts and still feel sorry for yourself and be both so fragile egoed and yet such a narcissist at the same time? Like, there's some there to behold and study and consider. Kamala Harris would just annoy me to high heaven. She's like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. And honestly, at least Meghan Markle is somewhat bright. She's not dumb. She went to Northwestern. Kamala Harris is objectively stupid. I just can't spend a lot of time with stupid people. Life is too short. I'm sorry. I can't have them working for me, and I definitely can't be on a desert island with them, Paul.
Well, with that wonderful thought in everyone's head, and certainly as you ponder it for the rest of the day, we love you, Megyn. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Great to see you.